Okay, so this video is going to be talking about how do we identify what macromolecules we have. Before I start going through some example problems, what we're going to do is talk about what tips or rules we can follow to make this process very simple. Now let's start by writing out our macromolecules. Protein, right, which is made up of amino acids. Right, carbs, which we find as mono, di, or polysaccharides. Lipids, all right, which can be fats and oils, phospholipids, or steroids. And the last one is nucleic acids, okay, which we don't need to break down. All right. When you are looking at a chemical structure, the first thing that you want to do, if you do not recognize right away what it is figure out what is in it. Okay? And so you're going to start by listing the elements. Let's just say you see carbon, you see hydrogen, and you see oxygen. Okay? If your molecule has these three elements and nothing else, that means that you are either going to have a carbohydrate or a lipid. That's it. Those are your only options. You've eliminated protein, you've eliminated nucleic acids. Okay? Now how do we know whether we have a carb or a lipid? Well, you need to count the number of carbon and the number of oxygen. If those two fall into a 1-to-1 ratio, or very close to it, then you have a carb. If you have a lot more carbon than oxygen, then you have a lipid. Okay? Now, let's take this a step further. You have carbon, you have hydrogen, you have oxygen, and you have phosphorus. If you get this combination, CHOP, right, that tells you automatically that you have a phospholipid. Okay, because nothing else is going to have that combination. If you have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, that tells you that you have a protein. And if you have a carbon, a hydrogen, an oxygen, a nitrogen, and a phosphorus, that tells you that you have a nucleic acid. Okay, so this is going to be the foundation. I'm going to run through some problems, and you can follow along if that helps you. So let's look at this one right here. Take a tally of all the different elements you see. We have hydrogen, we have carbon, we have oxygen, we have phosphorus. Okay, and so remember your previous list here? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus. Our only option is phospholipid. Okay, so this is a phospholipid. Alright, you can tell there is a phosphate group right there. Right here is our glycerol. And down here are our fatty acids. Okay? And in this case, we have saturated fatty acids because there are no double bonds here. Alright, let's look over here. Take a tally of which elements you see. Hydrogen, carbon, oxygen. We look back here, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, the only three that we see there, means it has to be either a carb or a lipid. What do we need to do? We need to find the ratio between carbon and oxygen. So let's count. Carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 carbons. And oxygen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I may have missed a couple. Okay. And so, oxygens we have 9. That right there is close enough to 1-to-1. Right? That's close enough for me to say that this is a carb. Okay, now what kind of carb is this? This is you see one subunit here, you see another subunit here, and so this is a disaccharide. Okay, another tip. If you see a ring, and the only elements that are a part of that ring are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, that's a carb. Okay, let's look down here. Look at the elements that you see in this molecule. Hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, carbon, nitrogen. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus means we have a nucleic acid. Okay, here's our phosphate group. Here's our base, our nitrogen base. Here's our 5-carbon sugar. Okay, and the last one here, take a tally. We have hydrogen, we have carbon, we have oxygen. All right, all this stuff down here, that's all carbon and hydrogen. Okay, and so based on our chart, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen could be a carb or a lipid. Look at the ratio of carbon to oxygen. Alright, so carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. To oxygen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 30 to 6 ratio. There's no way that is a carb. And so obviously this is going to be a lipid. Now what kind of lipid? Well, I see a glycerol here, and I see 3 fatty acids. And so we have a triglyceride. And is it saturated or unsaturated? Well, we've got double bonds here, which means it is unsaturated. Okay? Hopefully this has helped. If you need more help, come to my office and we can discuss ways that you can remember how to do these.